The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Telethon 2024 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Ann and Joseph Farda Foundation, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth.
Thank you for joining us for the 23rd Annual American Red Cross Northeastern Pennsylvania Telethon. My name is Sherry Shrive, Executive Director for Northeastern Pennsylvania Chapter of the Red Cross. I'm joined here today with Len Lavenda, Board Chair. Much has changed over the past 23 years since we first launched this event. The communities we serve have evolved and expanded, and many of the faces have changed. But the unwavering support of the Red Cross continues to offer our community here in Northeastern Pennsylvania has remained strong.
The Red Cross shelters, feeds, and provides comfort after disasters. It supplies about 40% of the nation's blood. It teaches skills that save lives, provides international humanitarian aid, and it supports military members, veterans, and their families. If you would like to make a donation to the 2024 Telethon, visit redcross.org/NEPA Telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen. We also want to give a huge thank you to Blue Ridge 13 for making this program possible.
As well as thank you to our generous sponsors whose commitment to the Red Cross ensures that we can continue our fulfillment of our mission.
I would recommend the St. Luke's School of Nursing to anyone that was pursuing their degree in nursing.
When students come to St. Luke's School of Nursing, you can expect a holistic approach.
Making a program that is dynamic and diverse and evolves with time is very important to us.
We not only see the moment, but we also prepare you for the future.
When I hire the School of Nursing graduates, I know I'm getting a quality nurse.
They're here to teach you everything you need to know to care for these patients effectively.
We have Don Seipel, President of Monroe Campus of St. Luke's, here with us in the studio today.
Thanks, Len. As a recent past board member, I've had the privilege of serving on the board of the American Red Cross for the past 7 years and have seen the impact they have made on the residents of our communities. Here at St. Luke's, we support the Red Cross and share in their commitment to the community well-being and humanitarian goals. Here are just a few ways your donations can help. Last year, the American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania collected over 27,000 units of blood. They responded to over 270 local disasters, offering assistance to over 1,200 individuals in their time of crisis. Their volunteers installed over 1,000 smoke alarms in 400 at-risk homes. They also assisted almost 1,000 military veterans and their families and taught almost 700 young individuals first aid, CPR, and other life-saving skills. The money that you donate will go to good use, so please consider donating to the American Red Cross. On behalf of St. Luke's University Health Network, I would like to present this check of $10,000 in support of the American Red Cross's important and vital mission.
Thank you so much to St. Luke's, and thank you, Don, for everything you've done in the past as a board member and making sure that we can continue all of the response and everything in the community. And people need this so much, and we are so proud to be a partner with you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
If you would like to make a donation to support your local Red Cross, visit redcross.org/NEPA Telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen. It is only because of the generosity of donors like you that we are able to answer the call for help whenever and wherever disaster strikes.
This brings us to our first tote of the program. $10,037.
Very good.
If you would like to make a donation to support your local Red Cross, visit redcross.org/NEPA Telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen.
The Red Cross responds to 60,000 disasters every single year across the country. About 270 of those actually happened right here in northeastern Pennsylvania last year, affecting over 1,200 of our neighbors. The Red Cross is needed now more than ever, and donations are critical to the mission. Across the country, the Red Cross is responding to nearly twice as many large disasters as we did a decade ago to help families and communities struggling with more frequent and intense disasters. In 2023 alone, the U.S. experienced an all-time high of $28 billion plus disasters that ravaged communities and forced hundreds of thousands of people to flee from severe storms, floods, and wildfires. If you would like to make a donation to the 2024 Northeast Pennsylvania Telethon, visit redcross.org/NEPA telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen. Your gift enables the Red Cross to prepare for, respond to, and help people recover from disasters. During this year's program, we would like to pay tribute to the people who make up 90% of the Red Cross workforce, volunteers. Two of those hero volunteers include Jane and John Hoopengarner, who joined the American Red Cross Northeastern Pennsylvania chapter as volunteers in 2012. In just over a decade, spent donning disaster vests and Red Cross lanyards, the Pike County couple has traveled to disaster relief operations more than 50 times, most often as a team, and have collectively spent months providing help and hope to people affected by hurricanes, tornadoes, fires, and floods. Welcome, John and Jane Hoopengarner. When a disaster occurs, without hesitation, you pack your bags and deploy to devastated communities to help. These are strangers who are often reeling from historic storms or devastating events. What draws you to answer that call?
Well, we know that people are out there who have probably experienced the worst day of their life, and they may have lost their home, they've lost all of their possessions, maybe their car, their job, and they need help. And we want to be there on the front line to help them. It's an exciting thing for us to do, but it's also a challenging thing, seeing the pain that they're going through. But once you have an opportunity to see that you can make a difference in their life, helping them cope, helping them find a way of recovering, it makes a difference in our life too.
The Red Cross mission talks about alleviating human suffering. And when one, excuse me, when one of these events happens, my heart goes out for the pain that those folks are suffering. And if I can do something to alleviate that suffering, then it's all good.
That's wonderful. You actually just returned from a deployment. Can you tell us a little about that?
We did two trips out to Maui where they had this horrendous fire that burned the town of Lahaina. And there were thousands of people who were then in shelters, congregate or non-congregate shelters, with no place to go. The housing was very short. In that situation, I was in headquarters helping organize some of the teams that were going out and helping in the shelters. Jane was in the shelters working with the people.
The shelters were not the typical Red Cross shelters that you think of as a large gymnasium or something like that. They were actually hotels that had opened their doors for the people to come and stay because there was no housing available. And it was a different kind of a situation, speaking with them while they're in a hotel, trying to cope and have a family inside a hotel room and all that that entails, at the same time realizing they had no home to go back to. So it was a very stressful time for the clients. It was stressful for some of the volunteers as well, because we really had very few resources to offer them at that point in time.
I can't imagine how difficult that must have been for you as well as the local residents. Can you explain what a disaster action team member does? You know, what is their actual role when they're deployed to a disaster area?
It depends. There are so many different things that you can do. Now, locally, a disaster action team will be a group or a couple that goes out to a fire and helps someone with those immediate needs. They need shelter, they need some clothing possibly, they need to have a safe place to stay. So locally, that's what we'll do, whether it be a fire or flood. When you go to a national disaster, that can be a host of different things that are people doing. We have people who are doing logistics, bringing in all the equipment and the supplies and the food and the emergency things that they need to clean up their homes. There are people who are handling transportation vehicles for us. There are people who are handling, or probably the primary thing is putting people in shelters and making sure that they're taken care of. One of the primary things that we have done in the last few years is what's called shelter resident transition. And the purpose we're there is to help people with their recovery and finding a sustainable place for them to go. Not just another short term, but a longer term place for them to find a safe home that will be able to be, even if it's not a permanent home, it'll be a transition time that will allow them to get back into a more. And through that, there are people who are doing mental health, coping with people. We do also spiritual care. We recognize that people that not only have physical needs and mental needs, helping them cope, but we also supply spiritual help for them. And that is just helping them find their own spiritual roots. That's been a primary focus of what we've been doing the last year. There's people that do our feeding and almost anything you can imagine, because it takes a large group, and we're on the ground very soon helping those people.
So the Red Cross provides a wide range of services.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. And it takes many, many volunteers to be able to coordinate those services. You might see John and I out on the field, but behind us there are hundreds of volunteers helping to coordinate all of those different activities so that we have the supplies and the things that we can bring to the clients in their need.
Very interesting. So there are people who aren't even visible to the people in the local community who are out there supporting you and your role.
And we need them. They are critical to the mission.
Sure.
There's also people who cannot go to the scene, and they do virtual work. Some of our casework, some of our spiritual care, some of our mental health work is done by people who stay in their homes and work hours each day reaching out to the clients or helping in other ways.
That's terrific. Is there a moment that stands out for you as something that most memorable in your many years of doing this? I'm sure that you have a lot of stories to tell, but is there any one thing that sticks out in your mind?
I think one of the most challenging things that we have done is we've gone on several mass casualty incidents, those very sad things that you hear in the news, shootings and or fires where in Maui was really a mass casualty because of the number of people who lost their lives. In Buffalo, when there were shootings a couple of years ago, the trauma on the community is incredible there. And to be able to work with those people and give them some hope as they move forward, individually touching people's lives there, meeting with the families who have lost family members, that makes a very deep impact on your own personal life. And I've never experienced a negative situation there. It always seems to be a positive thing where we can reach out to people who have not just lost their homes, but maybe have lost loved ones or have lost their whole community. So that's probably the area that stands out, the thing that is maybe the most challenging, but also in sometimes the most blessed to be a part of.
Sometimes it's a little frustrating because we don't get to see the end result. You know, we are deployed for 2 or 3, sometimes 4 weeks. So you work with a client, but you don't see them get to the end and see them fully recover. But I had the opportunity in Ian last year to work with a lady who really didn't even speak English. She spoke Creole, And I managed to find someone who also spoke Creole in the shelter. And between he and I, we managed to find another family who spoke Creole over on the other side of the state that were willing to sponsor her to come and live with them. And therefore, we were able to help her to gather what little things she still had left, make the transportation happen for her, get her over to the other side of Florida, get her established in that home. And it was just a beautiful thing to be able to see it from start to finish in this one particular case.
Well, those are incredible stories, and I can understand what motivates you and rewards you for the fine work that you do in support of the Red Cross. Thank you very much. And thank you for sharing those stories with us today. To learn more about volunteer opportunities and how the Red Cross provides help and hope in times of disaster, visit us at redcross.org. To make a donation to the 2024 telethon, visit redcross.org/NEPA telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Telethon 2024 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Ann and Joseph Farda Foundation, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth.
Hi, my name is Corcatina, president of Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono. Just like the Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono is committed to the health and welfare of our community. So we are pleased to once again be the silver sponsor of this year's telethon for $2,500. We hope it will help you continue with the amazing work you do every day in our region. We look forward to continuing our partnership for many years to come.
Thank you, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, for your donations to the American Red Cross. If you would like to make a donation to support your local Red Cross, visit redcross.org/NEPA telethon or scan the QR code on the bottom of the screen. It is only because of the generosity of donors like you that we are able to answer the calls for the help and whatever people need when a disaster strikes. This brings us to our second tote of the program. Ready, everybody? Okay, it's $12,532.
Fantastic.
Woo!
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
If you would like to make a donation to support your local Red Cross, visit redcross.org/NEPA telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen.
Why am I running from the killer instead of grabbing something big and sharp? Dumb.
Going to cheerleading camp next to the abandoned insane asylum, it's like throwing good blood away.
There's a blood shortage and we came up to Dead Lover's Point at midnight on Friday the 13th.
Lame.
So lame. Lots of people need blood, whether they're fighting cancer or giving birth or, say, potentially getting stabbed.
I could have saved a life, but no, I just had to babysit the night a cannibal escaped from prison during a lightning storm.
Guess I'm gonna waste all this blood by dying in a predictable horror movie way.
50% of Americans like watching blood get spilled in horror movies. What's scary is that only 3% donate it. When was the last time you donated blood?
Right now, the American Red Cross is experiencing an emergency blood shortage. As severe weather has furthered impact of the ability to rebuild the blood supply and blood platelets needed. Donors are needed now to help alleviate the shortage and guarantee life-saving medical procedures are not delayed. Every day, blood donors help patients of all ages, accident burn victims, heart surgeries, organ transplants, and patients battling cancer. In fact, every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. Last fiscal year, people in northeastern Pennsylvania generously donated over 27,000 units of blood and platelets, and in our greater Pennsylvania region, over 110,000 units of blood. The Red Cross plays a critical role in meeting the demand for blood, providing 40% of the national blood supply. Blood donations to American Red Cross are meant to make sure that moms, new premature moms, cancer patients, accident victims have access to life-saving blood. Blood can only come from volunteer donors and has a shelf life, meaning it cannot be stockpiled. Thanks to our blood volunteer donors, we have answered the call for life-saving blood about 13,000 times. Rian Costanzo has heard her story of birth countless times. It's a nerve-wracking memorial of a heroic tale. It's also the story that inspired her to become American Red Cross blood donor and volunteer, in honor of people who saved her life the day she was born. 18 years ago, on January 31st, 2006, Costanzo's mom gave birth in an emergency room C-section and faced a severe blood incapability with the baby Rian. Rian, can you explain to us what this meant for you in your birth?
Thank you, Sherry. So this meant a lot to me. It was really scary for my parents. Obviously, I don't remember, but it was really scary for my parents. I have B positive blood and my mom has B negative blood, and so her body was sort of treating me like a virus. It was kind of rejecting me near the end. So she ended up needing an emergency C-section around lunchtime, and I'm so sorry.
So you grew up knowing this?
Yeah, I was told this story a million times, and my dad vividly remembers when I was born, the nurse had delivered me and very briefly picked me up for him to see and then ran out the hall, and he was like in shock and didn't really understand what was happening, and he had followed her out the hall and saw her running with me in her arms down the floor to the NICU, and he says that that's the only time he's ever seen a nurse running with a baby. And
what a scary time for a parent, right, to see that.
So I was born blue and I wasn't breathing, and so that was the nurse's response was to take me in as fast as she could, get me to the NICU so that I could get hooked up and get stable. Into the night, I ended up requiring almost a complete blood transfusion, and through that, there was no blood available within the entire Scranton area, and all the immediate hospitals didn't have anything left. And so the hospital I was born at, Moses Taylor, they had a tiny bit of a special infant mixture platelet left. And so they started my transfusion on that, and then started calling all of the chapters of the American Red Cross, trying to find anyone who had any blood available for me. And into the late hours of the night, they had actually found a volunteer who went all the way up to Albany and had gotten a cooler of blood, and they went into a taxi and they went down 3-4 hours all the way back to Scranton and had delivered it, and then they left very swiftly. And I wish that we knew who they were so that I could thank them, but I'm so grateful that that volunteer had sacrificed their night to save my life.
And save your life. Look at you now, and look at you here, and talk a little bit about your experience and why you decided to come on board and be a volunteer at Red Cross.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously with that story, you were very impacted growing up, but what was the idea of why you wanted to join?
So my entire life I had been told this story, and my entire life, as soon as I was old enough to really understand the gravity of it and how important it was, I had sort of pledged to myself that as soon as I was old enough, I was gonna do anything I could to give back, because we don't know who the volunteer is, so I couldn't really directly thank them. And so I decided that my way of thanking was going to be giving back to everyone else and sort of paying it forward. And I had turned 16, and I had made my appointment with my dad to go donate blood for the first time, and I thought at the time that the only volunteer position was one of the couriers for blood, and I was like, well, I can't really do that right now. And through donating blood, I had started a virtual blood drive through my high school, and we had raised over $500, and I was trying to do anything I could to really just show how much the Red Cross meant to me. And when I went to donate blood, I had given them the check, and they had told me, oh, there's actually this position called Blood Donor Ambassador, and you should look it up. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I looked it up, and within a week, I was able to have a few interviews, and I was able to officially become part of the Red Cross family.
And here you are, right?
Yeah.
Our ambassador,
Yeah.
which is amazing, because if anyone should be, it's someone who has earned the right to be here with getting your donations and now being part of our Red Cross family.
Thank you.
So you were talking about being a blood ambassador. What do you do as a blood ambassador?
So I'm the person who sits at the check-in desk and greets people as they come in for their blood drive and their donation appointments. They usually give like an ID card or their donor card, and then I scan it and I check them in, and I sort of brief them on just the process and how long it'll generally take. And then when they're done with after they've sat down and they've had their appointment and they've finished donating blood, I help oversee what we call the canteen area, which is a little refreshment table, and it has lots of snacks and sweets and water and juice, and it's just for those first like 15 to 30 minutes after your blood donation, just to make sure that you're feeling okay and aren't having any side effects. And I help just talk to all of our donors and make sure that they're feeling okay, and also just sharing experiences and memories. And I really like to ask why they donate, because I found that everyone has a reason. And I think it's really special, especially when I meet people who have very similar stories to mine. It just makes me feel really empowered to keep helping others.
So you're like the first face they see when they walk in.
Yeah.
So what can someone expect when they attend their first blood drive?
So typically you find obviously the building that the donation is being held in, and then I help check in, so you come and see me first and I check you in, and then you'll sit and wait until one of the phlebotomists call you, and they'll just do general vitals, so they'll do heart rate and blood pressure. They also do like a finger prick to check for your hemoglobin levels, just to make sure that your iron is stable and at a regular rate. And then after that, you get checked in officially. So I'm sort of the first check-in, and then you get checked in a second time. And then once you're officially checked in, you go and wait until one of the tables is ready, and then you go and you donate blood. And the process is honestly really easy, and it's really fast. It's a lot faster than I was expecting. It at max usually only takes about 10 minutes, the actual donation. It's more just sort of waiting and going through everyone. And then after that, after your donation, they usually ask you to sit at the table for a few minutes just to make sure that you're not dizzy, and then you'll go sit in the canteen area, and you'll have some snacks and some water and some juice, and sometimes you get free things like a t-shirt depending on the giveaways that month.
People love that.
Yeah.
Makes them come in.
Yeah. and then that's it. It's a really easy process. It never takes longer than an hour. And
an hour to save 3 lives,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
that's pretty good. I mean, when you think about it, right? The time donated to save 3 other people.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we are so happy to hear stories like this and hear what we do and how it goes out and transpires into the world. So thank you so much.
I'm so grateful for you guys.
Thank you. What message would you like to leave our viewers with? Like, we've been talking about how this happened, what you did. What would you like to tell the viewers?
You can save a life by only taking an hour out of your day by donating blood. I'm very grateful that someone took a few minutes out of their life to donate for me and save my life and give me a second chance. It's very special, and it's an amazing process to be able to talk to all these people and meet people who have similar experiences to you. It really makes it so much more personal and special. I encourage all eligible individuals to schedule a blood or platelet donation, depending on what you're interested in. These appointments are very easy to make by using the Red Cross donor app or visiting redcrossblood.org.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would recommend the St. Luke's School of Nursing to anyone that was pursuing their degree in nursing.
When students come to St. Luke's School of Nursing, you can expect a holistic approach.
Making a program that is dynamic and diverse and evolves with time is very important to us.
We not only see the moment, but we also prepare you for the future.
When I hire the School of Nursing graduates, I know I'm getting a quality nurse.
They're here to teach you everything you need to know to care for these patients effectively.
Given giving blood, I was excited to do it.
I like to help people.
It's just a small way that I can try to give back.
It feels like you're doing a good thing for society.
It means a lot to me that my donation is going to go out to help somebody.
It's a very worthwhile opportunity to give back to the community.
It's easy. You can help strangers. That's the best feeling in the world, helping strangers.
I tend to think, what if it was a family member or someone I knew who needed blood, I would want it to be there for them.
Everybody needs to have the chance for life, and this is one of those opportunities to do that for people.
As a physician, firsthand I get to see the importance of blood and people that are in need of blood transfusions. Such a simple thing that without a lot of effort that you can do to actually save someone's life.
Come on out and help.
Donate blood with the Red Cross.
This gives us a chance to quickly highlight how cool the Red Cross Blood Donor app is. The Red Cross Blood Donor app makes it easy for donors to schedule and manage their donation appointments, also to track the lifetime impact of their donations and earn rewards and to recruit others to donate. The coolest feature, in my opinion, is that you can follow your blood's donation journey every step of the way as it makes its way to a hospital to actually help patients in need. You can download the free app by texting Blood App to 90999 or searching American Red Cross in the app stores. Behind every blood drive, there are skilled staff, specialized equipment, and transportation, as well as testing, to ensure the safety, blood typing, and extraordinary care of our blood donors. An average blood drive, plus testing and blood donor care, costs about $5,000, and the Red Cross hosts about 500 blood drives across the country every day. With so many blood drives needed each year to keep blood on the shelves for people facing medical emergencies, that's a huge expense, but worth every penny to save lives. To make a donation to the American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania, scan the QR code on your screen. You can also donate by visiting redcross.org/NEPA Telethon. Your donation ensures that we can continue our life-saving work. Again, to make a donation to the American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania, scan the QR code on your screen. You can also donate by visiting redcross.org/NEPA Telethon.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Telethon 2024 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Ann and Joseph Farda Foundation, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth.
Hi, I'm Joe Haddock, Market President for Eastern Pennsylvania at Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. We have been part of the Northeastern Pennsylvania community for more than 80 years, and we have a long history of supporting our local Red Cross because we are also committed to building strong, healthy communities. This includes hosting blood drives for our employees and supporting the Sound the Alarm Home Fire campaign that installs free smoke detectors for area residents. And for many years, we have been a sponsor of the Telethon. And we hope that you will join us in supporting the Red Cross and the many services they provide to our community.
We are back to check in on our next tote. But before we announce our current total, if you would like to make a donation to support your local Red Cross, visit redcross.org/NEPA Telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen. It is only because of your generosity and donors like you that we are able to answer the call for help whenever and wherever disaster strikes. Well, this brings us to our next time of the program for our tote. You ready?
I'm ready.
15,500. Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you would like to make a donation to support your local Red Cross, visit redcross.org/NEPA Telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen.
Even though more people hear about large disasters like wildfires and floods, the bigger disasters that threaten us in the United States is home fires. Home fires claim 7 lives every day, but having a working smoke alarm can cut that risk in death by half. That's why the American Red Cross has launched our Home Fire campaign in 2014 to help save lives. Sound the Alarm is a critical part of the campaign. Together, volunteers canvass the neighborhoods, knock on doors, check smoke alarms, go into homes and install them if necessary. Educate families about the fire and safety building evacuation plans for them as well. Through our home visits last year, volunteers in Northeastern Pennsylvania installed more than 1,000 free smoke alarms and made more than 400 households safer. Volunteers at Sound the Alarm event is so rewarding, so please volunteer. One day of your life can change someone else's forever. Visit redcross.org/soundthealarm to get involved. The Red Cross is proud that an average of 90 cents of every dollar we spend is invested in delivering care and comfort to those who need each year. The generous support of donors like you enable our disaster workforce, 90% volunteers, to help millions of people in the United States. If you would like to make a donation to the 2024 Telethon, please visit redcross.org/NEPA Telethon or scan the QR code in the corner of your screen.
Today, the Red Cross is responding to nearly twice as many large disasters in the U.S. as it did a decade ago. The need to help has never been greater, and one of the ways you can help is by volunteering your time. Volunteers provide relief and comfort for disaster victims, also life-saving blood products for patients, emergency support for military families and veterans, and much more. There are 2 main areas you can sign up to volunteer. The first area is disaster relief. Some of the most needed disaster-related volunteer roles include Disaster Action Team. Most of the 60,000 emergencies the Red Cross responds to each year are smaller disasters, like home fires, and these are no less devastating to the families affected. As a Disaster Action Team volunteer, they can help comfort and support people in their community by meeting any immediate needs, such as food, shelter, clothing, or supplies, and connecting them to long-term recovery services. Red Cross supplies all the training you need. Then there's disaster recovery care. Casework volunteers provide support to people after disasters to help them get back on their feet. This can include providing referrals to other organizations, serving as advocate and issuing financial assistance through a special online system. Volunteers are needed to help both virtually and on site after disasters. Also, there's disaster mental health. Disaster mental health volunteers provide mental health support to those impacted by a disaster. To be qualified, one must hold a master's degree and a current unencumbered license as a social worker, psychologist, professional counselor, marriage and family therapist, psychiatrist, school psychologist, or school counselor. Current psychiatric nurses with state licenses as a registered nurse and at least 2 years' experience in a psychiatric setting are also qualified, as are retired mental health professionals who are licensed and maintain a license or certification in good standing upon retirement. The second main umbrella of volunteer opportunities falls within our blood services. The Red Cross supplies about 40% of the nation's blood, and we depend on volunteers to ensure patients have this access to life-saving blood supplies. Some of the most needed blood services include blood donor ambassador. The blood donor ambassadors ensure that blood donors have a pleasant and fulfilling experience from the moment they arrive to the moment they leave. They greet donors, they answer questions, and they thank them for their donation. We also need blood transportation specialists who deliver life-saving blood products from the Red Cross distribution facilities to hospitals using a Red Cross-owned vehicle. Typical shifts are about 4 hours. The Red Cross asks for a commitment of 2 4-hour shifts per month. These are all great opportunities to get out in your community, meet people you may have never met before, and do something good. If you aren't able to donate your time, a financial donation to the Red Cross helps communities prepare for, respond to, and recover from disasters, big and small. Big, well-publicized disasters, such as hurricanes, often bring millions in donations to the Red Cross, but is sometimes challenging to pay for the smaller disasters with less visibility. Donations fund nearly 100% of disaster relief activities. The Red Cross responded to more than 230 disasters in northeastern Pennsylvania in 2023. Responding to disasters takes a village and is only possible through the power of volunteers. Many people are surprised to learn that volunteers carry out 90% of the humanitarian work of the Red Cross. They answer the call any time of day or night and rush toward disasters to help people in need.
While it might seem American Red Cross magically appears in the middle of the night when disaster strikes, it's both our first responder partners and volunteers like Jane and John Hupengardner who make certain supportive and hope arrives 24/7. Jane and John, what do you do when you get that call in the middle of the night? What's your first thought?
I think the first thing we want to get is as much information about the call as we can. We're being dispatched by a duty officer who is on 24/7 making sure that we get information. We may call them up and ask for a little information. They send us some by email or text. But then we want to know how many people are involved. Was anyone injured? Do they have children? Do they have pets? These types of questions, if we can have those beforehand, we're better equipped to bring the appropriate things to help them. How many blankets do we need? Do we need toys for the kids? Do we need to have contact information for pets? So we want to be prepared when we go out.
Often, if you become a DAT responder, which is Disaster Action Team Responder, you have what we call a go bag that's always ready, and that has the pertinent things that you will need to take with you on a call so that you're not scrambling around. It's a big enough scramble to get up in the middle of the night and get ready and out the door. But if you have all those things that you're going to need most likely on a call and have it prepared, it does make it a little smoother to get out the door to the clients, because that's our primary focus. We want to get to the clients to offer them the comfort and the hope and the resources that they need at that immediacy of that fire situation or whatever the disaster might be.
The public hears so much about disaster and how we respond and what we do. What is it something that they don't know about response and disaster and what you do?
Jane.
What they don't know, it's a challenge, it's an honor, it can be stressful, but at the end of the call, you have such a wonderful feeling that you were there to meet someone's need in the moment that they needed it. Not 2 days later and not 6 weeks later, but that hour, that night, when they needed it the most. To be a shoulder to lean on, someone to listen, someone to offer real support, whether it be the funds for a hotel room for the rest of the night, or whether it be a place for their pets, some comfort things for the children who've lost all of their things that are important to them. That's what keeps us going, to have that, to know that we did that for someone who needed it the most.
I think sometimes when you see the change in the people when you get there, they are often very stressed out. They don't know what to do, where to go, and just to take a few minutes to help them to focus on what their immediate needs are, it changes their whole attitude so often about what's happened. And you can see some hope come back into their life that, okay, we can just do the next step, and we'll be there to help them make that next step.
So would you say that's what makes you, want to volunteer? Because of what happens in the process? Or what would you say was the reason you started volunteering in the first place?
I love people, and I love to help people. And if someone has a critical need and I have the resources to make a difference, then I'm going to do it. You can't hold me back.
Right. How about you, John?
I think it's similar. We get there and we see that we've made a difference in their life, and I think that's the most important thing. We get blessed from that, so that's our reward. We are able to see a change in them just by being there those first few hours, or in many cases when we're deploying nationally, it's a longer term thing where you're building a relationship with a person over a matter of weeks and to help them move ahead. And you develop a friendship with them, and see them go from often despair to hope. And that is such a blessing for us to be able to share that. I think that's what motivates us to really do it.
Well, I just want to thank you both for choosing Red Cross to help us in not only what we do for the clients, but deliver the amazing, services that we do. And thank you so much.
Okay. We encourage anyone to come along and help us.
Agreed, thank you. Volunteers make a difference in the lives of those affected by disaster nationwide. Their dedication to the Red Cross's mission is invaluable and inspiring. If you would like to learn more about becoming a Red Cross volunteer and making a difference, please visit redcross.org/volunteer. And as a reminder, please scan the QR code in the corner of your screen or visit redcross.org and EPA Telethon to donate to this Northeastern Pennsylvania Red Cross today. Your gift enables the Red Cross to prepare for, respond, and help people recover from disaster.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Telethon 2024 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Ann and Joseph Farda Foundation, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth.
I was always taught that charity has to be kind of a give and take. It completes something about yourself, and that's why you do it.
It's important to give back to your community, give back to mankind. It does your heart good.
It gets you up in the morning, so to speak. It's really rewarding at the end of the day when you can kind of help someone out. My name is Ashley Turner, and I am the volunteer partner, the American Red Cross, for the Disaster Program Specialist. I work heavily with our Volunteer Services Department, onboarding new volunteers as they come in. I think a lot of people think the Red Cross is the big disasters, and obviously that's something we respond to, but everyone kind of forgets what we really do respond to, which are the everyday disasters, which are the single-family fire.
My name is Sean Wetta. I am a Red Cross volunteer. We go out to fires in the city here, and we're there within 60 minutes. This is someplace where I can really make a difference for people. I know how to, relate to them because of having the experience that I had growing up in a fire.
My name's Guy Forte, and I've been volunteering with American Red Cross for 7.5 years. Being ready for a disaster, it takes a lot of preparation, a lot of logistics. When someone calls and says they need a shelter, it's ready to go. And it all starts right here in the warehouse and ends up at a shelter. Just because you retire, that's not the end of your life. You got all that work behind you. So I thought I'd volunteer, and now I've got all this work ahead of me. But I love it.
Once you kind of get that benefit of like, oh, I'm actually making a difference, I think it keeps you engaged in the Red Cross and makes you more committed as a volunteer.
I don't know what it is, the feeling that I get after you've taken care of somebody, it's just amazing.
You're a family, the Red Cross people are, and it takes a lot of guts, and it takes a lot of compassion.
It's time to check in on our next tote, Sherry.
Whoa.
But before we announce our current total, if you would like to make a donation to support your local Red Cross, visit redcross.org/NEPA Telethon or scan the QR code at the corner of your screen. It is only because of the generosity of donors like you that we are able to answer the call for help whenever and wherever disaster strikes. This brings us to the next tote of our program. $17,036.
Yes! Thank you. To make a donation to support your local Red Cross, visit redcross.org/NEPA Telethon or scan the QR code at the corner of your screen. Since being founded in 1881, the Red Cross has been a constant lifeline for people when they need us the most. From responding to more than 60,000 disasters every year, to supplying 40% of the national blood supply, to training thousands of people in life-saving skills such as CPR, first aid, and water safety, to supporting military members and their families from the moment a serviceman takes oath to the time they navigate life as a veteran. The American Red Cross is needed every day. No one else does all of this, not the government, not other charities. To help us better understand the impact Red Cross has here in NEPA area, I want to ask Len Lavina to share a few words with us.
Thank you, Sherry, and it's an honor to serve as the board chair for the Red Cross of Northeast Pennsylvania. Like most people, I've known about the Red Cross since I was very young. However, I'm still amazed by the incredible work performed by the staff and volunteers in our community. As you've heard during this telethon, the American Red Cross mission is to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. Today, we've highlighted some of the personal stories about how the Red Cross mission has affected individuals in our community. I think you'll agree that these stories are inspiring. I want to spend a couple of minutes putting some numbers behind those inspiring stories. As you know, the Red Cross helps people impacted by disasters, both natural and man-made. But did you know that the Red Cross responds to more than 60,000 disasters every year? Last year, about 270 of those happened in our community of Northeast Pennsylvania, affecting over 1,200 of our neighbors. As you know, the Red Cross collects blood for patients in thousands of hospitals and transfusion centers across the country. But did you know that every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood? Last year, individuals living in Northeast Pennsylvania donated over 25,000 units of blood and platelets. That is an amazing contribution. And you probably know that the Red Cross provides financial assistance to military families. But did you know that more than 110,000 families reach out to the Red Cross for emergency assistance each year? That's about 300 military families every day. The Red Cross installs free smoke detectors in at-risk homes. Did you know that last year in Northeast Pennsylvania, we installed more than 1,000 free smoke alarms. And you probably know that the Red Cross provides a wide range of training courses to help save lives. But did you know that last year in Northeast Pennsylvania, we taught over 11,000 adults and children first aid, CPR, and other life-saving skills. So, as you can see, the individual stories we've presented today are not isolated occurrences. They happen over and over, every day, across our region, our state, and the nation. One other important reason to support the Red Cross is that we rely heavily on volunteers. Did you know that 90% of the disaster relief workers in the Red Cross are volunteers? That means 90 cents out of every dollar we contribute goes directly to aid people in need. Charity Navigator gives the Red Cross a 99% rating. There are several ways you can support the Red Cross and its mission. You can give blood. You can become a volunteer. You can make a financial donation, which is the goal of this telethon. This event is our major fundraiser of the year in Northeast Pennsylvania. Your financial donation to the Red Cross helps provide food, shelter, relief supplies, emotional support, recovery, planning, and other invaluable assistance to our friends, families, and neighbors when they are experiencing their greatest need. If you've been moved by the stories today, please help us create more. Your donation will go a long way. Please give whatever you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Len. Thank you so much. On behalf of the people we serve, thank you for your generosity. Don't forget to scan the QR code or visit redcross.org, NEPA Telethon, to donate to this year's NEPA Telethon, benefiting the American Red Cross, Northeastern Pennsylvania. Can we get a drum roll, please? The tote raised this year by the American Red Cross, Northeastern Pennsylvania, 2024 telethon is
$22,480.
Thank you.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you to all of our sponsors, to Blue Ridge 13, our volunteers that joined us this evening, our volunteers all throughout Northeastern Pennsylvania and across the country.
Thank you to our donors and all of you for watching tonight, and thank you so much for being part of Red Cross and helping all the people in our community. Thank you.
Good night and goodbye.
The American Red Cross of Northeastern Pennsylvania Telethon 2024 thanks these generous sponsors: St. Luke's University Health Network, Ann and Joseph Farda Foundation, Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, Pocono Mountains Visitors Bureau, Lehigh Valley Hospital Pocono, Blue Ridge Communications 13, Zach and Kate Booth.
From the very beginning, we're all about being connected. And year after year, through every stage of life, that need grows even stronger. Which is why Penn Teledata never stops improving our advanced fiber network. We connect the things that matter most: businesses, schools, healthcare, governments, and of course, the people who make our community strong. This is technology with a purpose. Stay connected with Penn Teledata.
You made this vacation happen, cleverly merging promotions,
double points with every purchase,
and cross-referencing travel sites. Aloha! If you can ace your vacation, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
Problems. The ones nobody talks about at cocktail parties. We go looking for them. No matter the obstacles, no matter the odds. We surround a community's most critical problems, and we fight. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. Will you?
You are watching BRC 13.
Bob Matthews and George Everett had to look over and make sure it was you. Yeah, George Everett, the legend, with me here in the BRC 13 sports crew at Northern Lehigh High School for the King of the Ridge Wrestling Championship Finals. And an outstanding tournament so far today, and now we have the two teams, Lehighton and Pleasant Valley, locking up in the championship final coming up here in just a few minutes. We'll be starting off at 44 pounds. And then we go all the way up to heavyweight. And, George, this is always a fun event. I know that they had to take a hiatus for a couple of years, but it's back now. And Lehighton usually represents itself very well in these tournaments, the King of the Ridge tournaments, the Battle of Carbon County here in the finals.
Yep, and, talking to Zach Kemmer, their coach, he said that the middle weights are going to be key. He knows what's going to happen in the lower weights and in the heavier weights, but, from about 60 pounds up to 80 pounds, they need to get bonus points and not give up bonus points.
And Lehighton, as I mentioned, they might